Welcome to the Beyond the Vines podcast, where I interview local business owners in Sonoma County to highlight small business and grow our community. I'm your host, Amy Ehlers, a mom, realtor, and Sonoma County native, and I'm excited to connect you to some amazing people in this beautiful area that we call home. Welcome back to the Beyond the Vines podcast. Thank you again for tuning in and listening. I was just mentioning to a friend how much fun it is for me to have all these local small businesses coming in, and I'm getting to meet so many new people. So I really appreciate you listening and for all your support. I'm here today with Tali Bouskila from Flower Casita. I absolutely adore this flower shop in Petaluma. They actually did my wedding flowers 2 years ago and nailed it, even though I was the most in particular bride ever and gave them no details. They absolutely nailed all of the florals for our wedding. So I'm really excited to have Tali here today. A little bit more about Flower Casita. They're a full-service florist servicing Sonoma, Marin, and San Francisco counties. Their shop is filled with locally sourced flowers, plants, and gift items. They feel that supporting our local farms is imperative to the health of our community and the ecology of the planet. They look to our farmers for unique elements and color tones, and they can elaborate in their designs. Their design style is often called organic and wild, as they weave natural elements into bouquets that move through and hold space. Their work emphasizes a farm-to-table ethic, sourcing and care of perishable goods, and a focus on sustainable and seasonal materials. So with that, I welcome Tali.
Hi.
How are you? Good. How are you?
Good.
It was so fun to actually meet you face-to-face today.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because we're right around the corner from each other, and I need to come into the shop more.
Definitely.
I definitely order flowers online. I send flowers. Anytime I send flowers, it's from you. But I need to come in and do more of the face-to-face connection.
Yeah, lovely. And
Yes.
we always have things in there that aren't online.
See,
Fun
that's
surprises,
what I need to do.
inspirational items.
So
yeah.
the next time I'm at La Dolce Vita, I'm going to literally cross the pavers and come see you.
We definitely share a lot of customers.
I'm sure, right? I was thinking today, actually, for a gift that I need, I was thinking I should stop by and grab flowers. And I was like, oh, wait, they're on the podcast today. So that's funny. So tell me a little bit more about the story behind Flower Casita and what inspired you to start your own shop here in Petaluma.
I had been working in flowers for a long time on and off through high school and college. I started experimenting with having a business of my own. It was just event-based weddings mostly. It was a couple years in. We were exploring different areas in the city. We were starting to get more and more weddings up here in Petaluma.
Yeah.
A lot of old farms that, younger generation family members have flipped into venues. That was kind of the common story the thread that we kept finding. So we were up here constantly, many weekends out of the year. We were also learning about different local flower farms that were in the area. Of course, there's the big Nevy brothers that everyone knows about, but there's a lot of even smaller time family growers, people on, half acre of land, really growing based on color, more specialty type items and floral components.
Wow. Yeah.
Kind of a dreamy way of operating, kind of like a chef that can, request a farm to grow things for them. It started to feel kind of like that when we'd be up here. So we explored the idea of opening something, and we kind of looked through the market and felt like there wasn't anything like what we wanted to offer in the area. And essentially what we're offering is event level scale flowers, or a more modernized look and feel to a flower shop.
Right.
So why should the flowers that you got for your wedding only be around when you have an event? It can be something that's on your everyday dining table or in your office. It doesn't have to be very expensive. So yeah, that's kind of the premise to our company as a whole, is just kind of modernizing the industry a little bit.
I love that.
Working with local farms, getting to know the community. Our products have evolved just based on what customers do or don't like. The seasons, color tones, all of that is really how we operate throughout the year.
That's amazing. And I will say your designs are more unique and organic, like you mentioned, to the point where when I do send flowers to somebody, they reach out and they're like, these are incredible. Like, I didn't know, so you stand out for sure in that way. So it's very impressive.
Thank you.
Your design eye is incredible. So I love it. And these smell amazing. I'm really kind of just wanting to put them all the way up in my face right now. So going back to that, your work is known for being unique and creative. How do you stay inspired and continue to innovate?
Yeah. One of my big ones is travel.
Yeah.
it would be impossible for me to stay creative if I was always in my shop and had too much of a ready routine. It's really important for me to branch out, whether it's hanging out with other artist friends, going to a random museum exhibit, which is a more formal version, dance, music, all those things, even being with my kids, just being on kid time and in their world. Travel is definitely the one that is the easiest way for me to kind of drop into a creative space or just allow that space to open up. Always being curious about new things, whether it's food or other art forms, or so that curiosity and just exploring that constantly and that self-study space is really what keeps me creatively inspired kind of in anything I do.
Right.
And I do believe that creative folks, and I think most people, all people have that in them, but those of us that kind of live in a creative space, it's everywhere. Even my compost bin is not a bin. It's a beautiful bowl. Because I don't, I want to look at a pretty bowl on my counter when I'm chopping vegetables.
That's amazing.
It just kind of weaves into everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be hard work. It's just kind of, I like to be surrounded by beautiful things.
That is so amazing. And I feel like you're so in your element because I definitely have like a black compost bin under my sink that is not pretty and doesn't smell good. So the fact that you've turned even your compost into art, essentially, like it's such a different brain type. It's so cool to me. So that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So what are some of your favorite types of flowers or trends in floral design right now?
It's such a good question. People always want to ask me what my favorite flowers are. I really don't have any. It's not because I'm a florist. It's more because that's my I don't have a favorite movie. I don't have a favorite color.
Oh, interesting.
I know. I'm one of those oddball kids.
You can't commit to any of the favorites.
Well, it's mood. Like it depends on the season, the situation, where it's going, for what. Even though we have this very natural, organic look to our designs, if you're having a disco party, we're gonna flip it to a disco party.
Cool. Yep.
So that's also the fun. Creating for a space, a person, a season, whatever it might be. That's really actually one of the funnest parts of what we do is exploring different terrains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I didn't even think about that. So I have like this vision of what your style is, but it probably depends on the event.
For events,
Yeah. That's
and if
amazing.
you just say, do it your way, it's going to have kind of a general look and feel.
Yeah.
And it depends on who designs it. I'm not the only designer.
Right.
I purposely shaped my business around an overall feeling and group and team, even though I'm the founder and the owner. It's the reason why the business is not named after me.
Yes.
A lot of florists are named after, the lead designer or whatnot.
Great point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
It feels like a collaborative space and a space where we're not going to create cookie cutter arrangements, but more inspired by season, color, texture.
I love
all
that.
the elements.
That must have been, was that hard to find like a staff that has that vision? Like, where they can kind of.
I think they find us.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's pretty obvious for the person, the new hire, that like they either are in it and they love it, or they're like, okay, I'm going to bow out.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too hectic. It's too whatnot.
Totally.
There's not enough, boundaries, not the word I'm looking for, but there's not enough structure. It's too unstructured.
Yeah.
And then there's folks that are they just eat it right up.
Yep.
And you can, I've trained many people from scratch who've never touched flowers.
That's great. Yeah.
And that it's a fun space it's a lot of work. It's a lot of commitment. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of these mini apprenticeship type programs that have organically transformed in our space. But I do think that that's what ends up allowing for multiple designers that have their own touch and feel. You can tell that it came from someone else.
Right.
But we all are within the same genre.
I love that. Yeah. That's amazing. And then, like thinking about trends, especially when it comes to things like weddings, do you get a lot of clients who want you to follow a certain trend? Are you more like, kind of have your own vision, or not your own vision, I shouldn't say,
it's
but
all,
like,
all of the above. Sometimes it's the venue,
definitely.
What you put in a cement kind of industrial indoor space versus a winery versus a apple orchard, cow farm, you know. Often the space, the season, we really like to let other elements indicate our designs, or not indicate, but inform our designs. And then there's people that come in with very specific, wants and needs, and we can often create that. They're usually coming to us because they see something in our portfolio that speaks to them. It's very rare that there's like, we can't work together,
Right.
Like we don't understand you and you don't understand
Right.
me. Like that's a very uncommon situation that we're in.
Got it.
Yeah, so I think, and especially in the wedding world, it's usually usually romantic, a little bit more on the conservative side in a way. It's a more conservative event, reserved event. It's very color-based.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Unless you're working with me, which I'll have to tell the story of that. I was the easiest, maybe not the easiest bride ever, but I was very easy because it was second wedding. We were really only doing the wedding because our kids wanted us to have a wedding. And it was more like, okay, however it comes to be, it's more about the marriage for us. And so I literally just sent you, I like peonies and dahlias, and I know neither are in season. And we don't have a color scheme. So just like fun, bright colors. And like, I can't even begin to express how perfect the florals. Like I didn't know what I wanted, but you did. So it just turned out perfect. And there was both peonies and dahlias. So you're magic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think we did get some specialty ones in there.
Totally. I was like, I don't think this is possible, but here's what my wish list would be. And there they were. So yeah, amazing. I love that you can take, someone's vision. And I'm sure it played off of our venue. We were at MacArthur Place and it's outdoors. And we were just having a really relaxed, small, fun event. And you nailed it. So yeah, amazing. So can you talk more about maybe some of your most memorable and fun projects that you've done for any clients? I mean, of course, my wedding was like number one.
Definitely. I really love being asked to do bigger installations, things that hang or go on walls,
Ooh,
more
I love
structural, sculptural kind of pieces. We've done some fun stuff for the Mother's Day marketplace that they throw at the Watershed building every year, or now it's become every year for the last couple of years. And that's just fun because there's no parameters. It's just do whatever you want to do. And so we just kind of have fun with the space and thinking about who's going to be in there and what's around. There's a lot of foraging for that.
Yeah.
Like, it's on our dollar. Let's like really go with what's growing around.
For sure.
So we have some fun time foraging. We've done some fun stuff where we're floating things in ponds and like working with water in a way. And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Kind of special.
Yeah.
I think it's more thematic.
Yeah.
Things that stand out as opposed to like a certain client or, of course there's people we connect with for sure. But I think it's the overall team. Who else is on the team in terms of the coordinator, the clients? We have a really fun wedding coming up this weekend. In fact, over at Cavallo Point.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, so that'll be really fun. Lots of good color.
Oh, that's fun. That's really fun.
A really fun bride who's just she has her parameters, but like she's like go for it.
I love that.
Yeah, a lot of freedom.
Do you ever like stress out when it is like a big installation piece? Like, how are we going to pull off this wall, or how are we going to hang all these, or do you just know it's going to come together?
That's such a good question. My team always looks at me. They're like, "You don't ever seem stressed. You're like, just fine. Are you going to yell at us?" I'm like, "I don't need to yell at anyone."
This.
Yeah. I think with events, it's where I feel stressed at times is more in like the business world. Like, how do I do better marketing and those things that'll kind of eat away at me. But with an event, you spend so much time planning, and as long as you stay organized and your communication is really clean and clear with your clients, there's not too much need to be stressed in the moment on the day of, unless you've got big smoky fires and you might be evacuated or
rain,
lots of wind. We get a lot of wind. And what's cool is that because we've been in business for as long as we have, we actually can troubleshoot some of that at this point.
Yes.
As well, like we did a wedding in June that was 40-mile-per-hour winds out of Bodega Bay.
Yep.
We were one of the only vendors whose things just were fine. All
Isn't
outdoor.
that crazy?
It's totally crazy. We were high-fiving on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even the coordinator was like, "You guys nailed it.
That's
like,
awesome.
How did you do it?"
Yeah.
We're like, "We have figured this out.
Experience.
We have worked in winds before, and it's been awful."
That's amazing.
So I think experience really helps, and just I think keeping a cool mind, like freaking out doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
You just have to be ready to troubleshoot, be on your toes, come up with alternatives.
Yep.
Have a good team.
Yep. So, priceless at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. Thinking on your toes and keeping the calm. It sounds like something I tell my 9-year-old. I'm like, hold on, chill. They're not going to come to a solution that way.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. So, As someone who works with the natural elements, what are some of the challenges you face when sourcing flowers, you know, and making sure that if there is a particular flower you need, you obviously can't predict if it'll be available or not.
And with that so we kind of have these two main different companies in one. We're a florist, flower shop, daily deliveries, subscriptions, all that flower shop kind of stuff.
Right.
And then we've got our event world. And really those hiccups only come up with events where there's very specific colors. And because we work with really sophisticated color palettes, you know, very muted tones with powdery blues, not just any old blue, but like a very specific tone of blue. It can be really tricky. It can be tricky. Sometimes we have to sub things out, and we try when we are working with really specific color tones that a certain time of year that may or may not be in the market. Right. We just let that client know that we might that just trust us the week of your wedding that we'll make some adjustments that would be needed. And that can happen. It could be the same farm, the same farmer, everything's the same, but there was a little more rain, or there was too much sun, and the blue is now purple, and they bloomed out and they're no longer in season. And they're always in season this time. So there's a lot that we deal with. I mean, kind of like a chef would, where there's tomatoes that are juicier and sweeter, and lemons that are more tart and whatnot. And so they're probably, I would imagine, adjusting their recipes constantly and tasting everything as they go. It feels a little bit like that for us.
That makes total sense. Yeah. And I love how you keep relating everything back to food. It's really in a good way. Like not everything, but like kind of referring to it as almost like a chef, you know? And so I think that's really,
there's a lot of, I see a lot of, similarities.
Especially I think in our area, because I don't know if that would be the same for like bigger block florists, but like more with what you're doing, and we have a lot of unique restaurants, and so that's why that's in my head. That's amazing. So for those of us that want to bring these gorgeous flowers into our home, what are some ways to keep them lasting longer, that sort of thing? Like, do you have any advice for anyone coming into the shop on how to kind of keep this beauty going?
Yeah, definitely. In terms of our shop, just keeping your water fresh. I'm not one to put stuff, powders and whatnot in the water. I just keep an eye on the water, keep it fresh, make sure that the vase has water. Flowers do drink up. Keeping it out of the sun. Sometimes people want to put it in a warm window. It's just gonna. And then our designs tend to have elements that last longer and some that don't last as long. So trimming out the things that are spent, because most likely there's gonna, half of that will last beyond a week or whatnot.
Great point.
And then in terms of selecting, let's say you're just out and about, you're at your CSA box or you're at Trader Joe's or something.
See, it's food again. You're speaking my language.
There are a lot of, totally. Speaking the Sonoma language.
That's what it is.
The Bay Area language.
That is what it is.
I think how you select, if you're just buying in bunches, buying things that have texture, buying some different types of elements, so you can make a well-rounded bouquet.
I love that. And you have subscriptions, right, for like local businesses? Do you do residential homes as well?
All of it,
Wow, how does that work? I'm sorry, I'm throwing this one at you.
No, it's great. This stuff is easy to talk about. It is one of our more like popular items. Some people gift it to a friend, or they just get it for themselves, which is wonderful. Weekly or every other week, bi-weekly or once a month. Usually the businesses are going to go weekly and homes are going to go bi-weekly once a month, depending. And then you kind of just subscribe based on what you want to spend, essentially. And then that, that arrangement will be kind of the size of what you're spending. All of our designs are really seasonally based. So we work within certain color palettes throughout the year, different, grasses and pods and blooms. So you experience the change of seasons. Let's say you do a year subscription, you're going to really feel the difference throughout the year. You might get similar bouquets 2-3 weeks in a row, but then you'll start to notice a difference 5-6 weeks later or whatnot. So that's a really fun part of it. And then we just swap it out. So when we come to bring the next one, you leave your vase at the door, or if it's a business, we would just go in and refresh it. So it's very seamless. It's all ready to go. You're not cutting stems. You're not dealing with vases.
I love that.
It's all just an exchange.
Taken care of for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, is that a big portion of your business? Because that's a great service.
We'd like it to be more of a portion.
Yeah.
We think it's a great service.
It's amazing.
And it's really not that expensive.
No.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great idea.
We can do, small arrangements on a weekly basis. So we could really work in a lot of different budgets.
Maybe I'll bring it up in our office.
It's a great
We're also really located very close to you.
New home buyer's gift.
Total. Well, that's ideal for them. Absolutely. I always do like a local basket, but I should definitely bring some flowers into that. That's amazing.
It was a huge item during COVID when people were working from home.
Yes.
And they were like, I need something on my office desk, which
Yep.
is in my house.
Yep. That's amazing. Well, yeah, especially during that time, I think everybody needed like a little something.
A non-Amazon.
A non-Amazon, something real. Yeah, totally. So kind of coming off the business a little bit, what are 3 fun facts about you personally?
Oh, 3?
3.
Okay,
I know no one likes
2.
this question. Okay, we could do 2.
It's funny because I was like, I don't know, mulling it over and then asking friends. I was like, what are 3 fun facts?
I love that. Yeah.
And one of the hands down one that people kept just bouncing out is that I'm an ocean swimmer. I swim in the
my gosh.
ocean.
Really?
Yeah.
That kind of freaks me out. I'm a lake girl, but even then, I'm questionable. I'm more like a pool side. Wow, that's amazing and really impressive. Yeah.
It's definitely keeps one of the things that keeps me creative.
Yep.
It's kind of my temple, you know, it's an important space and place for me.
Yeah.
To stay grounded and
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You probably get some inspiration even from the waves, all of
the
that.
views, everything, the cold water.
Yes. The very cold water here.
It's really a good cold. Sometimes it gets too warm, in fact.
Oh, really? So it's almost like our little local cold plunge, really. You just go to the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What's your second one?
Travel.
Yes.
I do love to travel. I usually try to travel in places where I can also scuba dive.
Ooh, cool.
Another ocean moment.
You're a water for sure.
I'm definitely a water.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. What is your like favorite areas to travel to?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Because you don't have favorites, so I'm throwing you.
Don't.
I'm really throwing you today.
Remembered. Near water is always really lovely. I love going into small communities.
Great.
I've been into like some really cool indigenous communities in like Central South America, in the Middle East. I love just meeting, like staying in a place for a week or two and just kind of meeting folks and getting to know that area.
I love that.
But yeah, I tend to go water or mountains, like somewhere I can go do some hiking and whatnot.
Yep. Do you bring kids with you or no kids or both? Do your kids like to travel?
I did a lot of travel before I had kids.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
I do bring my kids.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, it's
I agree
actually
with that.
really cool.
It's good for them.
It's so good for them. And you meet a whole other side of a country because you get all the kids running up to you and then they want to play with your kids. Point. And it's really fun.
Oh, that's magical. Yeah. I love that.
Because kids just don't have the same barriers
Yeah.
as you know.
For sure. Oh, I love it. So no third fun fact. I have to let
Third
you
fun
off
fact is I also love to sew. I've made my blouse that I'm
Did
wearing.
you really?
Yeah.
Where'd you learn to sew?
Kind of YouTube videos. I mean, I guess I saw my mom sewing a little bit as a kid, but it wasn't like it was just like what moms did sometimes to like repair something or whatever. But yeah, YouTube videos, it's a meditation kind of space for me where I'll put music or a podcast on. I'll just like kids are sleeping and I'm sewing. And sometimes in the middle of the night too.
That's amazing.
It's
probably soothing for you.
It's very soothing.
Yeah. That is a really cute top. It actually caught my eye, so I can't believe you made that. That's amazing.
Yeah, you can probably see some strings hanging out. But.
No, not at all. It's fun to see like how you take your creativity. It's like in different directions even. So
it's hard not to want to make things. The type of creative I am as a florist is like you're making stuff constantly.
Yeah.
Actually like building something.
Yep.
So yeah, it's hard not to want to make things.
Right. That's amazing. Anything that I might have missed that you want to let listeners know?
I think like some fun business things that are going on is that we haven't announced this to the public yet.
So you're hearing it here first.
We are moving our shop.
What?
Just
Where are you going?
A block away.
Okay.
Not far. We're moving just to behind Pinky's Pizza.
Yes.
There's a new kind of maker's space. It's not new, but the building the area was purchased by the folks that own the Watershed building, and they're turning that into like another kind of maker's space,
like a barn, 5400 kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
we'll
cool.
have street side people. We'll still have a retail. It'll be smaller.
Yeah.
More
which
curated.
Could be nice, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
because it allows us to do more production in the back and more photography and things that we need to do for marketing and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So that's really exciting.
Great.
That'll happen by the end of the year, probably a little after Christmas.
Yeah, soon.
So we're in that process.
Yeah.
And We're also launching an online apprenticeship course.
Wow, great
that
idea.
will be out in probably the summer of 2025.
That's a great
So that's a really fun one.
business idea too.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's really nice.
Yeah.
When you said by Christmas, that got me thinking too a little bit about holiday florals. Do you have a lot going on during the holidays?
We do. Yeah, we definitely do.
Yeah.
We do lots of small parties, like small to medium parties,
Great.
corporate and home. We do wreath workshops.
Wow.
We sell our
That's
wreaths in other
right.
stores around the Bay Area. Or whatever, the North Bay, not the entire Bay Area.
That's amazing though.
Yeah, so we get pretty busy. We kind of hustle during the holidays. It's really fun though.
I was going to say that must be like, of course, probably a little bit of an overwhelming time because it's overwhelming for any parent anyways. And then to like add in the business, like, you know, extra load during that time.
Yeah.
But
I take vacation in like January.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, because then you got to get prepped for wedding season.
Totally.
But I was thinking what a magical time that must be.
It's so sweet.
That's so
it's
cool.
it's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That would be a good time too for anyone with a subscription. I bet they get some fun things during that time.
Yeah, definitely. It evolves. And then as we get into winter, it's like very different. And then you get really excited when the spring flowers start coming out.
Yeah. Well, congrats on the new space. I can't wait to visit you there. That's going to be amazing. So where can listeners find you right now if they want to shop in the next few months?
We're in the Theater Square near Soul Food Restaurant. The address is technically 142nd Street, but that is like an entire building block. So you just enter the courtyard as if you're going to Soul Food Restaurant or Dolce Vita Wine Bar, and we're right in there. Got a bunch of plants outside.
It's beautiful. The outside of your shop is beautiful too.
Yeah, we've had fun potting that up.
Yeah.
And then online, of course, at flowercasita.com.
Perfect.
Instagram,
Do you have Instagram?
is a great way to catch what we're doing. We always announce what's going on there.
Great.
It's definitely probably the key place to find us.
Great.
For just the day-to-day.
It's so fun, too, to just go to your page and see your work. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
If you need a little brightening during the day, just head over to their Instagram. Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. So wonderful.
Likewise.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
If you like what you hear, please be sure to like and subscribe, learn more about Sonoma County and all that we have to offer here.